What's going on, BiggerPockets? It's James Dainard from the On the Market podcast, and we are back on BiggerPockets YouTube channel to unveil our flip-off house. For those who've been following me and my good buddy Henry Washington from the On the Market podcast, we entered a friendly agreement competition where we're doing a flip-off. The flip-off is who can buy a property and generate the overall highest cash-on-cash return. Cash-on-cash return is taking the net profit and then dividing it by the cash invested, and that tells you what kind of return you make when you're taking on these risky flip projects. Henry's working on his flip down in Arkansas, and we're just wrapping up ours in the Pacific Northwest. So to recap this deal, we paid $380,000 for it. We had an anticipated budget of $100,000 to renovate the home, and I'm gonna take you on a tour of what we did with that $100,000. And we had an estimated value of when we were gonna sell it for $625,000. Our time period, we thought we'd be able to get this done in 4 or 5 months. So what happened? Our team cranked. We paid the $380,000 for the property. We spent about $102,000 to $103,000 on the project, and we ended up selling it for $700,000 and completing this renovation in 70 days, which explodes the overall return, and we'll talk about that in a second. So how do we do that? How do we get the renovation and done it in half the time? And how do we sell it for 10% more? Well, let's go in and take a look, and we're gonna discuss how we accomplish that. So to recap the scope of work that we did on this project is we updated the windows, we updated the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC systems. The systems were a huge thing and huge expense that went into our $100,000. We updated all the flooring with solid surfaces throughout. We updated the millwork, the doors, the kitchen got a massive overhaul. It was expanded. We put in new appliances, new cabinets, new countertops, full tile backsplash. We updated all the bathrooms with tile floors, tile surrounds, all new plumbing fixtures and light fixtures to where they all tie together and the design looked killer. But one of the major things that we did to increase the value, besides giving it this huge update and looking better than any other house that's sold for the last 9 months, was adding this primary suite. When we bought the property, it was a 3-bed, 1.5 bath. Did not have that primary suite to get you that higher dollar. If we were gonna sell that house with a 1 bath or 1.5 bath, the values on the home at the time when we purchased it were around $599. If we were to sell it today, it would sell for the low 600s. So by adding this primary bath, it was gonna get us to our anticipated price of $625. So how did we sell it for $700,000? That's a lot higher. When you're flipping homes, sometimes it is about market timing. And you know, a lot of flippers out there, they think that they just crushed a deal. It's all about them. It's all about their design and their plan, which it probably was, but then the market can give you a little extra lift. As we were getting ready to list the property, inventory was at an all-time low, and every home in a mile radius was pending with multiple offers. As brokers and investors, we understood that this allowed us to increase the price. We talked to all the brokers that had pending offers. We found out how many bodies were coming through the house, how many offers they had generated, and we realized that we could price this home for nearly $70,000 higher than we originally anticipated. So we didn't just list the house for more because we did nice finishes. We used the data, we used the comps, and that's how we came up with our pricing. When listing your flip properties, if you can hit that spring market, you're typically gonna get a high bump. Typically, buyers are in their highest demand from March to the end of May, looking for their new house as they're going into the transition year. Their kids could be starting school. They want to get settled before those schools start. And it's usually when your buyers are moving most. So when we're looking at deals or we're looking at any type of flip property, we want to know, when is it dispoing? When are we going to be selling it? If we're selling it in the winter, we might anticipate a little bit lower sale price. If we're selling it in the middle of the summer, it starts slowing down, we might anticipate a little bit longer hold times. With this project, one of our main priorities was making sure we hit this razor hot spring market. That means we had to turn the property faster. So originally when we bought the property, we thought this was going to take us from start to finish 4 to 5 months. As we're closing the property, we did it in less than 75 days. How did we accomplish this renovation in such a quick amount of time? Well, it comes down to the plan. Little things that you can do in a property will make a big difference on cost, but also your time frames and permits. When we were walking the property, I wanted to avoid delays. So things that we did that I typically don't like to do is we left some spaces the same. So in this kitchen right here, we have a nice updated kitchen. We extended it down to make it a big size. We had our dining room over there. We felt great about the floor plan. Typically, we like to open up a kitchen with a huge great room feel. Island in the center. You can hang out in your living room. Everybody can hang out. And that's typically going to get you the highest price. Now, when we were targeting that value of $625, we noticed that most kitchens were boxed off. And so that told us as flippers we could avoid opening this wall. That saved us alone at least a month to month and a half on our timeline. To open this wall, we have to hire an engineer, check what the beam calculations need to be, what structurally do we need to do. We have to hire an architect, and then they go into the city, submit for the permits, and depending on how long that city can take, it can be 2 to 4 weeks. It was going to massively delay our project. So after reviewing the comps, we felt good about achieving our price at $625 with leaving this kitchen alone. That was the first thing we did to knock a month nearly off our timeline. The second thing we had to do for a layout change was add that primary suite or modify the bathrooms to give it that primary suite. We did this in a very cost-effective way, in a way that wasn't going to cause massive delays. We looked at where could we add our bathroom. We looked at our hall bath. We saw we had some extra space with an extra eating nook. This allowed us to just frame one 2x4 wall in and install the bathroom, which is also right next to our other bathroom. When you're renovating homes, if you can stack your bathroom, stack your wet walls, get your plumbing running all one space, it reduces your cost on your plumbing by nearly 10 to 20%. In addition to, when you're framing, if I only have to add in 2x4 walls, there's no engineer needed. It's not structural. There's no architect needed because we're just adding the space. We just need our plumbing permits at that point. So by designing the right plan, you can dramatically reduce your time frames. I hear from flippers all the time, I went over budget. I went over my time frames, and I look at their floor plans. I'm going, well, you took a bathroom from this corner and you stuck it way over here. You had your kitchen in this section, you moved it way over here. The more you move things, the longer it's gonna take. And so by making these decisions used with comparables, it helped us shave a ton of time, nearly half the time, off our construction schedule. So by adjusting the floor plan, it allowed us to reduce the time working on it, reduced our costs, and it got us into this crazy hot spring market. Again, timing is everything. We saw a massive hockey stick in pricing in the first 2 months of our spring market, and it told us we had to catch this tail end. We're already seeing the market starting to slow down 30 days after we sold this thing. So we hit it at the right time. Again, time your flips right and you're going to get the elevation. We saw over a 5% growth in pricing in a 2-month period because there was so much buyer demand, so little inventory to buy. And if you put a really good product in the market, buyers were willing to pay you that premium because it's one of a kind. But besides hitting the right market, we also nailed the right details. As flippers, it's really important that you are delivering the right product to the market where a buyer falls in love. The renovations need to be cohesive. Does everything tie together? Are you adding some specialty things in or just little details that makes the house feel special rather than just generic? The last thing you want to do as a flipper is just make them all look the same, where they got gray floors, gray cabinets, white countertops. It feels slapped together. The more little details you can put in, the more emotions your buyer's going to have, which is going to generate that higher offer. On the design side, we made sure that that property was cohesive. Cohesiveness is a huge way to get a premium for your property. When we bought this home, it had a decent roof. It was brown, and then we had brown stack stone around it. We didn't want to go with a brown siding because it doesn't give that curb appeal to it. So we looked at all the colors and we go, how can we tie this together? We picked a nice earthy tone, greenish gray for the exterior, and it tied the browns together. We continued this theme throughout the rest of the property with what type of tile we picked throughout the property, what kind of floors we selected to install. The floors have a very earth tone feel. We didn't go with grays and cools because we wanted to speak to the outside of the house. When we were updating our bathrooms, we went with more earth tone. As you can see in this bathroom, we went with more of an earth tone beigeish tile. We tied it in with a green tile, and it really came together so the house all felt as one. But then there's the details and what you can do to, again, make that buyer feel special. So things that we do to not blow our budget, but to make buyers fall in love, is it's all about the tile design and layout. So this bathroom here, the average cost per tile is 99 cents to $2. That's not a lot of money. You don't need to spend $10, $20 on your tile. It's about how you tie it together. We stacked all of our tile, but then we added in little border pieces. Things like herringboning your tile, moving the direction, just adding different grout colors, or even the sluter around your soap niche or on the side with accent colors can make a big deal. And as you're renovating your bathrooms, look at how it's all tying together. Many mistakes I see from flippers is they just put in one thing. It's all stainless, so they're just gonna go with stainless. Many times when we're picking our material choices, we can give it that custom feel by tying it together, but not spending a lot of money. So in our bathrooms, we took things like our soap niche sluter and we made sure it was cohesive with their faucets. We then tied in our light fixtures with the hardware to the cabinets. By adding in different types of material design and colors, again, you don't have to spend a ton of money on those materials, but it makes it feel special. So really think through as you're selecting those little finishes. Little details can go a long way with your buyer and help drive your price up 10%. So to recap the numbers on this deal and for our flip-off competition, Henry, this is what you're going up against. We bought this property March 20th, sold it June 1st, paid $380,000. We put $100,000 in the renovation and sold it for 10% more than pro forma for $700,000. After all costs, real estate commissions, hard money costs, construction costs, rehab costs, and all closing costs, our anticipated net profit is about $125,000. That's 100% return in a 70-day window. Annualized, that would be about 400% return on your investing. This is why flipping is such an important thing to grow as an investor. And does every deal work this way? Absolutely not. Flipping is a very high risk investment. Anytime you're looking at making 30, 40, 50% returns on a property, it comes with an inherent amount of risk. So before you start flipping, make sure you can underwrite a deal correctly, that you built the right team, and then you're buying the right property so you can make these returns in a safe way. The beautiful thing about investing is every once in a while, I usually say it's 1 or 2 out of 10, you hit a deal like this. If you do enough flips, you're gonna get that profit pounding deal because you bought the right deal, you executed the right plan, and you hit the market right. Sometimes it's gonna go the other way, where you bought the right deal, you hired the wrong person, you hit the wrong market, and you can lose money. So always make sure you protect yourself, vet all your team members, vet all your underwriting, and buy the deal safely. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe below, and we will see you guys next time on BiggerPockets YouTube channel.